shadcn UI is a collection of reusable components that is not just ahead of the curve, but it is setting a whole new standard. In today's video, we'll be basically exploring what exactly is shadcn UI and how it is built on top of the solid foundation of Radix and Tailwind. So before we jump into exploring shadcn UI, let's try and understand what exactly is Radix UI. So Radix UI is just another component library, but what sets it apart from other component libraries is that it follows or adapts like a unstyled approach for the components. So if you go ahead and explore Radix UI, they have like a lot of components, so you can create drop downs, dialog boxes, alerts or pop-ups, and like a lot of other components. But the best part is these components do involve or basically have all the functionalities. So I can control this particular drop down with my keyboard. They have sub menus built into the drop down itself, and all the functionality point of view of what a drop down needs to be are covered by this particular component library. But they follow a rather unstyled approach. So these components are not styled by default. If you go to any other UI component library, you must have noticed that the components that those libraries provide are styled, from font sizes to font families to their drop shadow, border radius, and a lot of other things are already pre-configured. And if you want to change any of those configurations, you're supposed to target specific classes of that particular library, and that can be like a lot of pain sometimes. So Radix UI basically provides you with unstyled components out of the box, and this gives a lot of control in the developer's hand because you can choose to style these components as per your requirements and whenever you need. So you get the functionality out of the box and you can choose the styling as per your needs. And shadcn UI is built on top of Radix UI, and it uses Tailwind to do a little bit of styling in the components. And what sets it apart from the existing solutions is, first of all, it is not exactly a component library. So if you see someone saying that shadcn is just another component library, it is not. Please note that it is not a component library. What it is basically a collection of reusable components that you can just copy paste into your code. So ideally with any other UI library, what you usually do is install that entire library as a single package, and that package contains code for all the components that that particular package provides. But with shadcn, you don't install anything, or you basically don't install the library because it is not the library in the first place. What you do to use it is basically just go to any of the component, and you can either choose to copy paste the code of that particular component directly into your code base and then start using that component as like a separate component within your project, or you can use their CLI to basically automatically copy paste this code into your code base. So if you can basically use their CLI and run this particular command to get the code of the accordion component, and what this will do is basically it will create a separate UI folder in your project, and now you can start using this particular accordion component just like any other component in your project. So this is like a pick and choose sort of collection of components that you can simply go and either copy paste or use the CLI to install in your project. And what this does is it does not involve the it basically does not increase the overall bundle size of your projects, because you're not getting the components that you aren't really using in your projects. You only install what you actually need. And the best part about this is there are like a lot of configurations that you can do. Also, please note that if you plan to use the CLI to basically copy paste components from shadcn, there is a little extra configuration that you're supposed to do, but the documentation is pretty exhaustive. You can run this particular command and then it will ask you for a few configuration questions, and you can set up a lot of things. For example, if you want to use React server components or not, if where exactly is your global CSS file, if you want to use Tailwind like variable CSS variables or not, and a lot of other things. And you can basically choose to say yes and no to all of those things, and it will configure the entire project for shadcn based on your responses. So yeah, you can go ahead to their documentation and set it up using their CLI. And also setting up themes through shadcn UI is like very intuitive and very simple. And why is that? Because all the components in this particular reusable collection of components basically use colors and configuration from the globals.css file. So you basically define all your colors and variables and other things in the CSS globals.css file, and all these components pick those configurations from that particular file. So if any day you choose to basically change the coloring configuration of your project, or if you want to change the border radius of the components, or if you want to switch between light and dark mode, you can simply just click on the copy code button and basically just copy paste all these variables and the new configuration into your globals.css file, and with just an instant your entire project will start using the new color palette and the new configuration. So like shadcn UI makes it really intuitive to basically use components and only use components that you actually need, and theming and other stuff is also very simple with shadcn. So I think this is like a very good step in the styling world of front end, and we are moving towards the right direction. So do check this particular project out and let me know what you think about this. And I personally love shadcn because it's just very amazing on how it gives the control to the developer and in the hands of the developer, and it basically gives the developers full freedom on how they want to style their components, and they take up the task of heavy lifting all the configuration and setting up the components, and basically they provide you all the functionalities of the components out of the box, and you get to decide how those components should look on the project. So that is like pretty amazing. And they also don't enforce all the components onto the developer by default. You only choose what components you actually want in your project. So pretty cool stuff. Do check this project out on ui.shadcn.com, and let me know if you want a more detailed video on how exactly you can go ahead and use this in your React or Next.js projects, and if you want like a more demo facing video of this particular UI collection. So yeah, do let me know in the comment section, and if you have any other suggestions, also drop that in the comment section. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.